We're going to solve some examples from our knowledge of what laws of indices. Remember, in our previous videos, we talked about the laws of indices. I defined some terms related to the laws of indices and I showed you each law and how they operate. You can check it out in our previous video. I'll drop the link to the playlist in the description below. And please, if you're new to this channel, kindly support us by what? Subscribing to the channel, like the videos, and share to your friends to help them grow in their mathematics and to get confident while solving maths. Thank you. So let's proceed to the first question. Example 1, it says evaluate 4ab a square b cube minus 2ac when a equals to what? 2, b equals to 1 over 2, and c equals to 1 over 1 over 2. So what's the first thing to do when you see something like this? First of all, since we have been given values, or let's say numbers for a, b and c, we will simply what? Simplify it, then substitute in the values to get our what? Final answer. But they've already helped us simplify, so they just say we should evaluate it. So we are going to evaluate it. So stay with me. So the first thing we'll do is to what? Substitute in the values of a, b and c. So we'll have that 4a cube a square, sorry, a square b cube minus 2ac will equals to 4 into what's our value for a? Our value for a here. 4 into 2 raised to power 2 times what? Our value for b cube. See our value for b here, we substitute 1 over 2 cube minus 2 minus 2 a. Our value for a is 2 a, and our value for c is 1.5, which is equals to 3, 2 times 1, 2 plus 1, 3, which is equals to what? 3 over 2, 3 over what? 2. So that be what? Times what? 3 over what? 2. So this is how it will look like when we what? Substituted. So now, very simple, right? We can now break it down by expanding. You know, from our previous video, we said 2 here is the base and the power here or index or exponent is 2. While here the base is 1 over 2 and the power is 3. Here the base is 2, the power is what? 1. There's a 1 here because any number raised to power 1 is itself. And here the base is what? 3 over 2 and the power covering them is what? 1. So any number raised to itself is going to give you that number. Any base raised to itself will give you that number. Remember from our previous video. So let's break this down. So if you further break this down, if we simplify it, we'll have that sorry, the mouse is lagging. So we'll have that what? 4 times what? 2 times what? 2 again times what? This 2 times 2 is this one now. Then we'll expand this one. 1 over 2 raised to power 3 is simply what? Times what? 1 over 2 into 3 places. 1 over 2 times what? 1 over 2 times what? 1 over what? 2 minus 2 times 2 times what? 3 over what? 2. So this is what we get when we break it down, or we what? Remove the powers. So from here we can cancel out. If we cancel out here with 2, 2 into 4 will give us what? 2. 2 into 2 will give us what? 1. Cancel again. 2 into 2 give us 1. 2 into 2 give us what? 1. Cancel out here. 2 into 2 give us 1. And what? 2 into 2 give us what? 1. Then we go over to this other side. We cancel out. 2 into 2 will give us 1. And 2 into 2 will give us 1. So this we cancel this. This we cancel what? This. And this 2 we cancel this 4. So we'll be left with what? 1 times 1 times 2. 1 over 1 is simply 1. 1 over 1 is simply 1. 1 over 1 is simply 1. Let's just write it down. We'll be left with 1 times 1 times 2 times, we cancelled out 2, is 1 over 1 that's here. So 1 divided by 1 will give you what? 1. Here too, 1 divided by 1 will still give you 1 times 1. Here too, 1 divided by 1 will give you what? 1. So times 1 minus 1 times 2 times 3. 1 times what? 2 times what? 3. So if we do 1 times 1, we get 1. 1 times 2, we get 2. 2 times 1, we still get 2. And 2 times 1, we get 2. And 2 times 1, we get what? 2. So we say is equals to what? 2 minus 1 times 1 will give us what? 2. And what? 2 times 3 give us what? 6. So it will be what? 2 times will give us what? 6. So it will be 6 here. I seen it. So our final answer will be 2 minus 6, which will give us what? 2 minus 6 will give us what? Minus what? 4. You know how we got this minus 4, right? Imagine you have 2 and you're owing 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you give the 2 you're owing, 1, 2, this will cancel out, right? So it will be remaining what? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So since it's a debt, we'll put the negative. Very simple, right? So this is the first example. We are done with the first example. We'll move to the next example. So stay with me. So our next example says that we should evaluate, or we should multiply. Let's copy the example down. The first method we were given what? 3x. Also is lagging, sorry. We're given what? 3x plus what? 2y. We should divide it by what? We should multiply it, sorry, by what? X over y. So they say we should multiply both of them, right? So the first step is to multiply everything here by what? X. So if we multiply everything by x, x times 3x will give us what? 3x squared. So you know how we got 3x squared? Let me explain it over here. So 3x times x. For x and x, they have the same base. Like from our previous laws, we say when we are multiplying same base, we what add their powers. So you write the common base, x times x will give us x. The base here is 1 and the base here is 1, because any number of base raised to power 1 is itself. So x raised to power 1 is itself. So 1 plus 1, we're adding the powers because we're multiplying. 1 plus 1, which will give us what? X raised to power what? 2. Then we can add our value behind x, that's 3. So this is how we got 3x squared, right? So x times 3x give us what? 3x squared. So we continue. X times 2y. For this, 2y times what? X. Bring out the 2. No, there's an invisible 1 before this x. So 2 times 1, 2. Y times x. Since the bases are not the same, not the same. So since they are not the same, you cannot what? Add their powers. You simply rewrite them as what? X, y. So 2y times x will give you what? 2x what? Y. Remember, we'll carry the sign too. There's a plus sign here before the x. So plus times plus will give you what? Plus. And x times 2y will give us what? 2xy. So we are done with the first step. So the next step is to multiply it by what? Minus y. Multiply everything here by minus y. So we'll do that. Multiply it by what? Minus y. So if we multiply, now before we continue, let's take note of this. Plus times plus will give us what? Plus. Minus times plus will give us what? Minus. Plus times minus will give us what? Minus. And what? Plus times plus will give us what? Plus. So if we do minus y times 3x, you know the 3x minus y times 3x. The 3x is a positive number, right? So we can write it as what? Plus what? 3 what? X. So now minus times plus, which is here, which is over here, minus times plus will give us minus, right? So minus times plus will give us what? Equals to what? Minus. Then like I did before, when you are multiplying y times 3x, the 3 will come out as the coefficient. Then y times x, since they are not the same base, they are not the same base, right? Not the same what? Base. That's not the same base. You what? Simply write them as what? X what? Y. Because you cannot add their what? Powers. Remember, this minus y has raised to power 1 and x has raised to power 1. So you cannot add their powers. So you just simply write them as minus 3xy. So let's look for the place we have what? Xy and write it under. So it will be here xy. So write it under it. Minus what? 3x what? Y. So next we'll do minus y times 2y. Let's solve that here. Minus y times what? 2 what? Y. So if we do minus y times 2y, there's a plus sign here, right? So it will now be minus times plus, which will give us minus. Then bring out the coefficient. 2 times 1 is an invisible 1 here. 2 times 1 will give us what? 2. Then y has raised to power 1 here. Y has raised to power 1. And they are what? The same base. And since they are the same base, you can simply write it as y raised to the power 1 plus what? 1, which will give us what? Minus what? 2y what? Square. So we'll write it here. Minus what? 2y what? Square. So our final answer will be, you bring it down, 3x square plus, because you're adding both of them, so it will be 3x square plus, there's a 0 here, so it's now be what? 3 what? X square. Here we have plus 2x minus 3xy. So similarly, just like you have 2xy and you're owing what? 3xy. So if you have 2 now and you're owing 3, 1, 2, 3, if you give her that 2 to clear your debt, you still be owing 1, yes? So since you are owing 1, it will become what? Negative. So it will now be what? Negative what? Xy. Then we bring out this one down, minus what? 2y what? Square. So that will be our what? Answer after what? Solving. This is the first example. So similarly, if you want to use the second method, this is the first method. If you want to use the second method, let's just drag it here. The second method, that's method 2. This is the method you should use when you're already familiar with multiplying both of them. That's 3x plus 2y times x minus y. Put them in brackets. 3x plus what? 2y times what? X what? Minus what? Y. So this method, you can simply rewrite it like this. X will multiply everything here. So it's now be x into what? 3x plus 2y, and minus y will multiply everything here too. So it's now be what? Minus y into what? 3x plus what? 2 what? Y. So if we expand, we have that x times 3x, since they are the same base, x and x are the same base, you add their powers. Here is raised to power 1, here is raised to power 1. So raised to power 1, raised to power 1. So if they are multiplying, so from the laws of indices, when you are multiplying, you add power. So 1 plus 1 will be what? 2. So you have what? 3 what? 3x what? Square. Then here there is a positive here, times this positive will give us what? Plus. So x times 2y, first of all write the coefficient, that's 2. Since x and y are not the same base, you cannot add their power, so you just bring them down as 2x what? Y. Then here, take note of this sign, there's a minus sign here, right? So anything you're doing will affect both values in the bracket. So now let's go. Minus times plus, we know that minus times plus is what? Equals to what? Minus. So minus y times 3x will be what? Minus, you bring out the 3 first. Since they are different bases, you cannot add them, so you bring down their, now be what? Xy. I seen it, because here is raised to power 1, here is raised to power 1. So it's now x raised to power 1, y raised to power 1. Any base raised to the power 1 it itself. So here similarly, minus y times plus 2y minus times plus will give us what? Minus. Then 2 times 1, there's a 2 here, there's 1 here, invisible 1, because 1 times y will still give us y. So 2 times 1 will give us 2, and y times y, since it's y raised to power 1 and here is y raised to power 1, you simply what? Add their bases, because they are add their powers because they are the same basis. So you bring that y, 1 plus 1 will give us what? 2. So this is what we'll get. Just like our previous method, they will further simplify. Is there any value that is similar to this among all these ones? No. So we bring it out. We have what? 3x square plus 2x minus 3y. We had what? Minus what? xy. And finally we have what? Minus 2y what? Square. So if we compare the both methods, we'll see that we'll have 3x square minus xy minus 2y square. So let's check the other one. You see, 3x square minus xy minus 2y square. So if you enjoyed this video, simply like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that we'll continue solving more examples. Remember, we still have 2 more examples to solve, and we'll solve that in the next video. Thank you. And if you have any question, please don't be shy. Drop it in the comment section and I will respond to it. See you in our next video.